Kyle O'Reilly. Make sure you watch and listen to WrestleTalk.
Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
There's a WWE Network disaster, but WWE think they might have the answer in a new tiered system. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to the WrestleRamble Saturday Magazine edition. Please press the thumbs up button. Please give us a subscribe. Please leave a comment down below about what you think of the WWE Network changes incoming. But first, a word from our sponsors, Audible. Amazon Prime members can start an Audible membership now and get 3 months for the price of one until the end of July only. Visit audible.com/WrestleTalk or text WrestleTalk to 500 500 to get started today. Audible is a service that allows you to listen to an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and most importantly, wrestling audiobooks. You can listen to the death of WCW while you work out in a gym. Listen to Daniel Bryan narrate his own life story while you work out in a gym. And even get motivational speeches from Ryback's Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, a professional athlete's advice on how to succeed in the game of life while you work out in the gym. You can listen to the audiobooks in other places too, but I've been listening to the Ryback one probably too much. There's also autobiographies from Lita, Shawn Michaels, Dusty Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and more. I've actually personally been subscribed to Audible for over 5 years before it was cool, and I can't recommend it enough. So to celebrate Eric Bischoff's return, start off with the fascinating death of WCW, which WrestleTalk fans can get for free by clicking the link in the video description below, audible.com/WrestleTalk, or by texting WrestleTalk to 500 500 to get started today. It's very important you use those links to support all of us here at WrestleTalk, so get Audible today. We're really lucky here because we actually really like all the people that sponsor us.
Very much so.
And Audible is one of the best.
I was talking to you yesterday when we were at the pub. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of the Beastie Boys, like the history of the Beastie Boys they release. It's not just read by Ad Rock and Mike D. They've always got Amy Poehler reading a chapter, and Steve Buscemi reads a chapter, and John Oliver reads a chapter. It's really, really weird. It's awesome. I love it.
So please do go over to Audible. It's a great service anyway, and it really helps support us. We want to show them that we can drive all you great, educated audiobook listening viewers over there to take advantage of it, and you get like a little, kickback on the 3-month free offer.
And
not 3 months free, but the first month of 3 months free. Yes.
And everyone loves the Beastie Boys, so go and listen to that audiobook.
Exactly. But our topic of today is financial numbers.
Oh, it's all about the graphs and the numbers. Business chat is the order of the day.
There is a graph, a beautiful word art stock image graph.
Oh yeah.
That you'll see in most business PowerPoints.
Oh, I went to Google when I was making this thumbnail. I typed in free graph arrow down. That was hit number 1.
And an emoji. And the standard Vince McMahon picture. I wish we just had a picture, one of those stock images of the people in an office, where it's just the people in suits going,
business.
But this is actually super, super interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone always says, oh, but WWE's crap, they're going down the pan, we are leading that charge, really. But it's a different thing to actually have definitive, objective numbers to prove it, because WWE's business as a whole has decreased 5% year on year. So since the same time last year, WWE's overall, all the measures, the metrics they use, on average has decreased 5%. So last year they made $281 million, which is loads, and that's across media, live events, and all their merchandising. Now, this year was only $268.9 million.
Oh, God. Why even bother?
But you shouldn't, the idea of a business is to keep growing.
Yes.
And even though you get these bumps in the road, they really should not be losing money at this point because of, Saudi Arabia and Fox.
Yeah.
But there's also AEW on the horizon. So they've hoovered up all this talent. I imagine their sort of wages, just to to pay all their wrestlers is enormous, just based on how many people they have.
Me and Laurie have kind of got a running gag on our NXT rambles at the moment, where we're talking about that they have just too much talent going on, and everyone's storyline is, I've been here for a year and I've done nothing. Like, that is literally... Keith Lee's been doing it for the last couple of weeks. Shane Thorne was on the show this week going like, they're not using me. We've got this tournament with 8 new lads. And we just keep teasing all of these new people. Killian Dane's back. We're trying to push Punishment Martinez. Matt Riddle's needs... Kushida needs something to do. They've got too many people in NXT and not enough story.
And to be fair, they've got the same problem on the main roster.
They have, yeah. Where's Andrade?
So there's loads of interesting things that have come out of this. Attendance, so the average live event attendance is down 2% in the US alone. Worldwide, it's down 14%, so that's even more worrying.
Which we heard a lot about when they were doing their European tour, particularly when they were doing the shows in London after WrestleMania. We were getting a lot of reports. We didn't go, but we got a lot of reports from the building saying, like, it is not as full as it was last year or the year before that.
Maybe we should have gone. Helped them out a bit. And then merchandise sales. Merchandise, a huge moneymaker for WWE. That's effectively why we had to sit through a decade of John Cena as a babyface.
My favourite thing about the merchandise sales is that a lot of people are making fun of this one online. And you're like, I mean, their T-shirts are rubbish, so I don't really, I'm not surprised that merchandise sales are down.
But that's down 13%. Of course, it's not just T-shirts. There's loads of licensing and stuff to other toy products. But the big one, because this is really maybe indicative of a larger looming crisis on the internet, that the streaming service model with Netflix lost $28 billion this week based on their Q2 earnings reports. Check out yesterday's Screen Stalker video for me and Pete talking more about that.
If you love this business chat.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry, we also wear silly wigs. So we balance it out. But the network number for subscribers as of the end of June is 1.69 million. Mm-hmm. And that's paid. So that is down 6% from where they were the same time last year, and but in the pre-WrestleMania period.
Yes, and it's again, it feels like it's unsurprising because we've seen a lot of comments on our videos over the last few months about saying, I mean, I cancelled my network subscription. I'm kind of glad that I cancelled my network subscription. You see a lot of those comments, and you're right. I think it is almost like this network or streaming service bubble could be about to burst. I almost feel like every company is now trying to get their own version of it, and when you just saturate the market, people just kind of stop buying into it all. We're just going to see the rise of VHS again. That's what I'm hoping for.
Stop trying to make VHS happen. It's had its time.
It's coming back.
Mini discs. That's what I'm pushing. So and their forecast isn't optimistic.
No.
Interestingly, Netflix, They projected 5 million new subscribers worldwide. They got about 2.6.
Yeah, they overshot the moon.
Yeah, like by a long way, by almost over a half. And that's very worrying to markets, because then the markets go, you don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So that's when you get these huge stock price crashes. WWE, I rather respect them for this, have not gone, oh yeah, but we'll be in 2 million at the end of Q3. Their estimation is a further drop to 1.53 million subscribers.
And bearing in mind, sorry.
I was going to say that's very similar to their record-breaking number about 2 years ago. They're going backwards.
Yes, and bearing in mind as well, when the network launched, their expectation was 2 million within the first year. That was because they had done this... I don't even think they'd done a survey. I think they just randomly assorted together their TV ratings and attendance and were like, and we'll get 2 million people buying the network off the back of that.
To be fair, they could just say 2 million now. That's what they do for WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
Inflate those attendance figures.
It's the staff that are working there. It also includes all the people that are working on making the videos. They're included in the subscriptions.
Oh, I thought you were going to continue talking.
No. I was just I made a terrible joke. I'm now passing it back to you for numbers.
That's very good. This is... They do not expect a record number of subscribers this year. That was their thing. And also to this, before this earnings report came out, Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, George Barrios, Michelle Wilson, all the real Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, those are the top circle in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
George Barrios, if you're not familiar with him, he's the sort of bulldog lawyer who owns a hell of a lot of stock. Kevin Dunn, head of all the live event production and production in general, hell of a lot of stock. Vince McMahon, of course, he owns a lot as well.
Never heard of him.
They have all sold a decent portion of their stock and their shares. I think George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, looking at about a quarter to a half of how much money they own in the company. And then the day after, you get all these reports of everything being down. It doesn't paint the prettiest picture.
No, but it's also kind of like that smart business thing of like, the stock is likely going to go down, so sell now while you get it at a high price, and then you can just buy it up later when it's at a low price again.
Yeah. And
also, I think Vince did it because he needed the money for the XFL.
Yes, pocket money.
He needed
for his
pocket
little thing over here.
Exactly. He was like, Linda, can I have some money, please? She was like, no, Vince, make your own money. He was like, okay.
But that's not to say that the network itself... I mean, I get the appeal of WWE is definitely down. And the Saudi Arabia deal has created a bit of a stink. And I genuinely believe that's behind a lot of these people turning off, as well as just a deteriorating product.
Yeah.
Because the main driving force of sales for the network are the pay-per-views.
Yes, it's not the old content. Like the old content is designed to appeal to fans like you and I who were in that sort of 99, 98, 2000 period, or the lapsed fans that stopped watching in 2001 so they can rewatch their glory years. But actually, really, the main driver of things is their live pay-per-views and their network specials, like their 365 shows and the 24 shows and their documentaries and whatnot.
NXT, I suppose, too.
I kind of include that in the live shows.
I imagine if you watch NXT, you're gonna get the network anyway. So I don't know how much of that is actually a drive, like a sign-up thing, but it's definitely something that might keep people there once they're there.
It'll be interesting as well, on the subject of NXT, this was a big talking point on our NXT Ramble earlier in the week, that with them moving to FS1, is it going to stay on the network? What will the NXT brand essentially become? Because it's going to be on TV, which means Vince needs to be involved in it, and it's going to have to become a very different product.
Well, it's reported. Like rumoured, it's not a definite thing. But if it does, but the actual network figures itself, of course, the subscribers have gone down. But in terms of views, I don't know how much they're including YouTube in this. But it's a 17% increase in digital video views to 9 billion.
I reckon they're including YouTube.
Yeah, they probably are.
And Facebook views or Twitter views are probably including all of that.
That's totally it. So it even says those are assumed to include YouTube, other social media platforms, and not just the WWE network. A 10% increase in social media followers overall.
Oh my God, everything's fine. The ship is righting itself.
If you ever need a clearer picture of how social media followers do not directly translate into cash, they just lost. They declined by 5% in the money, and they increased 10% in social media.
Oh yeah, no,
they're not linked.
They're not linked at all. But WWE bloody love them. There was that report, Stephanie, when she does like her big rah-rah speech before every pay-per-view, before every sort of Raw and SmackDown, one of the things she always talks about is how good their social media numbers are. Because that is an important thing to the company, even though it doesn't translate to actual money.
Yeah. But maybe to combat this, of course, Vince talked quite a lot about Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff.
Didn't name them.
Yes. What did he say?
He just said we brought in 2 new creative heads.
New.
Yeah. New. And put over like their previous work and said that he said the show's no longer going to be one man's vision. I mean, I smell a lot of poop around that statement, but you've got to take him at his word, I guess.
Yeah.
And if there's one person you can definitely take at their word, it's Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Jeez, and then the 2 people underneath him who you can supposedly take for their word, Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. So that's one thing that they're doing to hopefully turn this around, although, everything is down. But another thing we didn't talk about is at the end of Q1, there was a similar sense of doom and gloom with everything being down. But Vince McMahon said, but it's because a lot of our stars are injured right now.
That's right, yeah.
But then it's gotten worse in Q2 when all those people have come back.
Which is why the reported reason why he brought in Bischoff and Heyman was so that he could essentially fool the investors and kind of sort of pull the wool over their eyes and be like, hey, it's not, but it's fine because look, we've got these 2 new guys in now, so Q3 is going to be great. Essentially just delaying the inevitable.
It's a distraction roll-up.
There you go. It's a distraction roll-up.
They've artificially extended this feud. But they are going to change the network.
Yes.
As maybe a way to help increase subscribers or maybe pull some more in. And they've already done a few interface changes. There's a new search function.
That's right, yeah. I believe the app version, the website version, as far as I can tell, hasn't changed.
Yeah, I can't see any
difference.
difference.
But the app version is different.
So like on your tablet.
It looks more like Netflix.
Yeah.
Is the report that I've heard. I've not actually seen it because I forgot to bring
and as we know, Netflix is working very well.
It's...
But they've also said that they're going to move to a tiered system within the next 12 months.
And this has been teased for so long. Like, years and years and years. I remember listening to an episode of Wrestling Observer Radio talking about this while I was decorating my house after I just bought it. And I've been there for nearly 3-4 years now. So this has been something they have been toying with and teasing and working on for years now. And I think now is about the time they're actually going to pull the trigger on it. We saw that with putting Evolve. I don't know why they would choose to put that Evolve show on.
Random Saturday.
Just a random Saturday where there was nothing else on, I guess.
Well, it had been in the works for months, Luke, you see. Been in the work for ages.
Kind of like Takeover Cardiff. It's just we booked that place ages ago.
NXT UK. They always meant to start that ages ago.
Oh, yeah. But yes, they put the Evolve show on there, and that was part of the tiered system. It was like you would get for $5 or something, you just get the archive, and then for $10 you get the archive and the shows, and then for $15 you also get access to Evolve and ICW and Progress and all the other WXW, all the other wrestling companies that they've already got under their banner.
And so that's interesting. And they said they'll launch a free tier, so you'll effectively have a free version of the network with select programming. I don't know how that's going to differ from their YouTube channel.
Oh no, it'd be like the documentaries. I'd have thought they
Yeah,
might
I
launch
guess
Roman Reigns 365. They'll launch that or something, in the free service.
But then there'll be a VIP tier coming several months after that, which will presumably be more than the $9.99 price point.
Yeah.
God, we're going to get a lot of promotion for that.
Oh,
on
yeah.
Raw and SmackDown.
It's like Netflix, but better.
Yeah. But yes, so that's where the network's going. But like Luke said, this has been teased and sort of discussed in conference calls for ages.
Yeah, and particularly investors' calls. It's been a long time coming.
I suppose now their backs are against the wall, though, because they've announced it quite resolutely. And they've announced it as a way to turn around the business. So now they're going to be beholden to the shareholders.
Yeah.
So you'd expect it to get moving. There's just one more note from this conference call, which is definitely my favourite.
I found these quotes to be so interesting. I really wanted to talk about these in Friday's news, but I had so much other stuff to cover with the Jimmy Uso arrest and the CM Punk stuff, and the Saudi show being moved around in WWE, but essentially getting dicked on with dates, that I was like, I'm going to have to give this to Laurie on Monday. But these are great quotes.
Yeah. So Vince McMahon is discussing the tone of the shows going forward, Raw and SmackDown. This is a direct quote now. "We are going to be a bit edgier, but remain within the PG environment." I'd say we've seen that already.
Yes.
With that first Paul Heyman-like show when Braun and Bobby went through the set. "We are not going to go back to the Attitude Era or do blood and guts or things of that nature, as is perhaps being done by a potential new competitor."
Potential new competitor.
That is shade.
Isn't it just?
But more shade are coming. "We are not going to go back to that crap that we graduated from."
Love that term, that we graduated from. That we used to do that crap, but we're so much better than that now.
You just did the Raw reunion show where you lent on the biggest star this industry's ever seen.
And have we all forgotten the Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton SummerSlam
Oh my
finale?
God.
Have we all forgotten that happened?
I just, yeah. And then he also said later on about the blood and guts and gory things that they have been doing, sort of not mentioning AEW by name, but...
No, he just recalls it new competition is what he's saying, new competition has emerged and things like that. But it is, this is very much referencing to AEW because he said, "I can't speak for TNT, but I can't imagine they would put up with that."
That being the blood and guts and gore. Which, if he watched the announcement on Wednesday, they've said that. Cody said, "We're going to save the blood and gore and stuff." No, he didn't use those words, but we're going to save the bloody angles for pay-per-views.
For pay-per-views, because then you have to buy them to see the end of blood feuds.
And that's why they're called blood feuds. You build it up on TV and you pay for the pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And as Meltzer pointed out, really, there's only been one really bloody match in the show, in the 3 shows that they've done, which was the Cody and Dustin match. The Cody Sean Spears angle, I mean, was the chair gimmicked? Was it not? I don't know. But like, Fight for the Fallen didn't really have any of that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's 2 angles that they've done.
So anyway, very interesting stuff. We are in a war, folks, and it's really starting to heat up.
If you want to submit a question to the mailbag, all you've got to do is become one of our awesome pledge hammers on Patreon and leave a comment in the community tab. Do not email me, I will just lose it. And I want to preface this, we've had to skip crap gimmicks again because you might recall last week we had so many mailbag questions that we didn't have time to get through all of them. And since then, we've had an even bigger influx of questions. So we're going to try and get through as many of these as we can within the next 20 minutes. Is that what we want to do? Yeah,
Yes,
20 minutes?
people are leaving the WWE network and commenting on our Patreon page instead, it seems.
Well, you know, we are good. We are hashtag good, hashtag content.
Consistent content.
Consistent.
Oh, and on Monday, we're going to have a little bit more, aren't we? Ramble Club. We're
That
recording.
might go out on Tuesday.
Yeah, it'll definitely go out on Tuesday. We're going to be very drunk on Monday.
Yeah, we're going to play drinking games again.
Well, I think the precedent's been set. So, yeah, sign up to us on Patreon so you can, submit these questions, but also loads of extra podcasts.
Indeed. So let's try and fire through these. Mohammed says, do you think WWE has any plans for the Viking Raiders?
Obviously not. Because they've sort of floundered since being called up, and they've been called several different things. I think Triple H obviously did, but this is Vince just grabbing an NXT act without thinking.
It's typical Vince pushing of monsters, really. It was just you put them in squash matches for a few weeks, and then you put them against an established lower tag team, and then you put them into a tag title program. I think that's most likely where we're heading. I could probably see the Usos winning the belts from the Revival, especially because Jimmy got arrested, so they're definitely going to win the belts now. And then you can do Viking Raiders and Usos after that. Darth Almo says, hi Luke, Ollie, Laurie and Pete, just wondered what WWE/F match originally got you into wrestling or sports entertainment. Mine was the Hell in a Cell match between Cactus Jack and Triple H from No Way Out 2000. Foley falling through the roof of the cell and crashing through the ring will always be a highlight of my wrestling fandom. Mine's actually the month prior. It was Cactus Jack Triple H Royal Rumble 2000. That was the match that really just suckered me in.
I couldn't give you a match, it was a gradual thing of just watching Soccer AM on Sky Sports 1 on Saturdays and then flicking around and SmackDown over time becoming a habit.
So
a Rock promo was the thing that got me in.
I'd sort of fallen for characters like The Rock and Austin and these sorts of guys, but it wasn't really until that match where I was like, oh my god, I think I love this now. I want to watch more of this.
Yeah.
Darth Almo says, hello again there, guys. What's your favourite movie quote? Mine is from the 1989 Batman movie by the Joker. Tell me something, my friend. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
A bonkers quote. I mean, just there's so many, can't choose really, but just because of the great man passed this week, I would go for Rutger Hauer's
Tears in the Rain.
Oh, from Blade Runner.
Yeah, he's seen things you people wouldn't believe.
I'm getting chills.
Oh, I love it. I actually rewatched it yesterday. Just that one scene. I want to rewatch the whole film. But I think I'm going to go with my favourite line from Ghostbusters because it's my favourite movie of all time, which is, listen, do you smell something? It's great. Dylan, not Roddy Strong. Hi, guys. I just became a Patreon backer today to listen to the latest Ramble Club podcast, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. The hair transplant part had me crying, so I was wondering if you had any WWE wrestlers' hair, who would it be?
Did I bring that up on the show?
Yeah, do you not remember this?
No!
We had a lengthy conversation about it.
I got so drunk.
I know. Well, we had like a big sort of heart-to-heart about it because the three of us are all follically challenged.
Yes.
So we had like a big heart-to-heart thing about this.
Consultations booked in for August.
Oh, is it really? Oh, mate.
I don't know if I'll go through with it. If I could have any... Tanahashi.
It's
the WWE wrestler.
I was good. Tanahashi would have been my answer as well.
Ooh, there's a lot of good hair in wrestling.
I like Dash Wilder's cut. You could set your watch to it. I love it.
No, I'd go for something long and flowing. Punk's.
Which era Punk?
Oh, no, that's it. Because I can just change to this week I have big mutton chops.
Look. It's a good answer.
I thought he looked really smart when it was just slick back and a moustache.
Yeah, very good stuff.
Gorgeous
What a
man.
good guy. AEW confirmed. Tom Delves says, hey, Chopper and the lads, do you think the Saudi Crown Prince will try and get Stone Cold versus The Rock? They're the biggest names from the past he hasn't got yet, or are they too modern? I don't think The Rock would touch it. I mean, we saw John Cena pull out of the shows for fear of how it would affect his Hollywood career. So I can't see The Rock doing that either, even if he is the biggest player in Hollywood.
Yeah, I can't see Stone Cold doing it either.
No, Stephen last one talking about this in their podcast, and about like how much money do you think it would take to bring Austin back? And I agree with their answer, which is like, I don't think you can come up with a figure because he doesn't need it.
I would have said the same about Shawn Michaels, though.
That's very true.
And they got him. And that didn't really work out for anyone.
Joe Madalena says, at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, the main event was Becky, Lacey, Seth, and Corbin, but it didn't get any EC dub chants, even though there were chair shots, kendo sticks, and tables. I think that's probably because the crowd were bored out of their mind. My question is, do you know any women's match outside of WWE or in WWE where they did get an EC dub chant going? When I was listening to your review version of the show, I heard you mentioning it, and I've been trying to think of if any women's match has had one.
Well, you watched the Callahan-Blanchard match.
I don't know if that had an EC dub chant in it, but the only one I could probably think of, and I'd need to go back and watch it, and someone can go back and check, is the Trish Lita Falls Count Anywhere match that main evented Raw in sort of like 2005, 2006. Because that was like, you know, all the hardcore stuff, and that was like around the big ECW revival as well, so that might have sort of resurgence in EC dub chants.
I can't think of any. None spring to mind. Maybe Bayley versus Alexa Bliss in the kendo stick on a pole match, ironically.
Yes. And they've also got a question. She also has a bit about Fight for the Fallen, which I still have not seen. Sean Dunn says, firstly, hope you guys had a great week.
Thank you.
Secondly, do you think Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins would be better as a heel duo?
Oh, no. No. I think I'm a bit... Seth Rollins after this week, maybe he would be better as that corporation heel to fit his real life persona a bit better.
And finally, he says, I got 2 words for you, chop it. And that is, he's calling himself now Generation Chop. He loves his Pete.
Off the back of Pete?
Yeah.
2 people have, one
Pete's
of the others
over.
said, hey, a Chopper and the lads.
Oh yeah, Pete's over.
It's Ollie and the lads.
Dylan Tyrrell Reeves says, rumour has it that Ukes and 2K are going to be remastering what many consider to be the best wrestling game of all time, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. We always hear about the likes of Here Comes the Pain and WWF No Mercy Were, so I wanted to ask, what do you think of some of the most underrated wrestling games of all time? First 2 that spring to my mind are SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and SmackDown vs. Raw 2007.
All the SmackDown vs. Raw games merge into one for me. I can't actually separate them in my head. But everyone says No Mercy as the one. WrestleMania
2000,
yeah, on the N64.
And the WCW games they were doing before that were like, it's the same engine. So yeah, some really good stuff that you can go to outside of that. I'm also going to go to bat for Royal Rumble for the Mega Drive or Genesis for our American viewers, because that was the game I played the most when I was a kid. Ryan B. Bad said, if you were to pick a current or former WWE star to cast as either a superhero or super villain who has yet to make it to the big screen, who would you pick to play who? I would have either Roman play Lobo from DC Comics or Rusev play Omega Red from Marvel.
Reigns as Lobo is actually, I can see that's actually quite good looks casting. When you said it, I got bogged down in who's actually a good actor.
Oh yeah, I mean, you definitely can't go down that route.
Unless you go like a silent...
Also, like cast someone as Onomatopoeia.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Was that his name? Was it Kevin Smith created one? Was he called Onomatopoeia?
Is Onomatopoeia a Daredevil or Batman villain?
It was a Batman villain.
Yeah, that sounds like a Smithism.
Yeah, I mean, he only spoke in onomatopoeic words.
That's a tough one. Have you got anyone?
The first superhero I thought of was Ghost Rider, so now I'm just trying to work backwards from that. So I'm going to say Kane as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, you've got to work out who hasn't been adapted as in a movie yet, which is quite difficult. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one. The glorious Robert Ray says, as Raw Reunion is this Monday, that's 24/7 title changing a lot of hands, and says, do you think Santino could win it? He didn't.
I would have said maybe, though.
Yeah. John Smith says, hello to everyone. If you had to book an NXT takeover show consisting of regular NXT stars versus undercard, lower mid-card main roster stars, what would you book to make it more fun? You can't steal each other's matches.
Well, if we AJ Styles versus Adam Cole. I
But
think I've
he's
already
main
said
event,
that.
though.
So mid to...
So it's all the underutilized. So I would have... maybe you want to rekindle that Johnny Gargano-Andrade feud.
Oh, yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
He's
Revive...
put Buddy Murphy, Matt Riddle.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he's got Adam Cole versus Buddy Murphy, Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks is good, Matt Riddle versus Chad Gable, Keith Lee versus Luke Harper, and the Undisputed Era versus Lucha House Party, which is an odd one for my money.
Yeah. The Lucha House Party are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like a Grand Metalik, who is actually one of, top 20 wrestlers in the whole world.
Yeah.
Grand Metalik versus a...
I'm going to say, while you're thinking of that,
NXT.
I'm going to go with Revival versus the Street Profits.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Where are the Street Profits, though?
Who knows? I mean, we may get that match sooner rather than later. I had a bold prediction for NXT as well. If they are going to go to FS1, I think the first show will be NXT Homecoming. And it will be all of the former NXT stars going back to do sort of dream matches.
Or just cameos, which don't build into any storyline progression.
Yeah,
or build.
that's the other way to do it, yeah. Roy Tipp says, what will end the Shane Vortex? Will Eric Bischoff just get rid of him on SmackDown, or will this be something that we're going to see up into and including SummerSlam? I'd have no issue with the Shane faction as part of the show, but not the main focus. He could have a good role as the mastermind behind a faction wanting to hold all the gold. Tags, IC, WWE, blah, 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 blah. A good group of heels trying to dominate the brand.
I think that ship sailed, my friend. He's got go-away heat now.
Yeah.
I definitely got him till SummerSlam because we know with the Kevin Owens match has been made. I hope that's it for him. I hope after that... But Eric Bischoff doesn't have control.
By Meltzer's account.
Meltzer's account. So
which we don't know is for sure.
I think we'll see a reset. You know what? Actually, maybe not. Maybe it'll all get reset on October 4th when it moves to Fox. So we'll just have a holding pattern on SmackDown with Shane as the main event heel until then. I
think we're going to go to Survivor Series. I think we're going to have Team Owens versus Team Shane with the winning, and if Shane loses, then he has to go, and that'll be the end of it. Dizziest Bloke Going Today says, after watching Evolve 131 the other week, I was infatuated with Brandi Lauren and just wondered if you think she'll join NXT at some point. I would have thought so. It's basically the feeder system to NXT. Yeah. Razman's Reality says, hey, my dudes, hope all is well. I was wondering if you've ever considered holding auditions for adding an American or other country to your team. I was thinking that a weekend video where they could send in to be uploaded to the channel or something doing opinion videos similar to Simon Miller's Y series. Never heard of him. Who's he?
Here's who.
Oh, okay. Nice. That was good. I emailed Andy a while back about doing an opinion column for the website, and he explained that isn't really what you want, which is where the idea of suggesting this video came from. So yeah, just to be clear, I would of course audition.
Yeah, so we did talk. I talked about it with a few people about a year or two ago, but it's actually quite hard. It's quality control as well because the recording equipment has to be of a particular standard, and it's not just about the person as a host. Like having a great host with a great opinion and great production equipment also doesn't mean that our audience will take to them. The best way that I found, is to have people come into the office and we sort of make it, because it is quite organic.
Our team works because we're friends.
Yeah, and we're all, not that we can't be friends with you, but it's a lot easier to do that when we're just sitting in the office all day together, shooting the breeze.
Certainly, yeah. I've known Laurie for years. I've known you for years. So that's why we get a nice dynamic. Pete's the outsider.
Yeah.
I'm burying Pete because people are starting to put him over in Patreon. Scott Aguilar says, hey guys, sorry my, quote, question from last week was more of a rant. The first half of this will likely come off the same. He then sort of goes into why Seth and Kofi can't face top stars because WWE haven't built any top stars. So he then says, my question is, where and why do you think WWE lost their way with developing worthy challengers? Was it during the oft shotgun style booking of the Attitude Era? Was it the introduction of these huge multi-man matches? Was it the proliferation of gimmick matches to determine contenders? Maybe a combination of these, maybe something else entirely. Sorry to bore you with my fandom backstory, which I did read, but I didn't read on here for the sake of time. I just felt it was relevant because the new generation era, even rewatching today, seemed to do a better job of building challengers than anything they currently put out.
I feel like it was WWE hasn't recovered since the Cena smothering, because that before then you had the amazing WWF main event scene of Austin, Rock, Triple H, Taker, Mankind, Kane, Chris Jericho even.
Yep.
Incredible amount of talent for just your top tier. And then you had the influx of a lot of the WCW guys eventually, but then they went for Cena, Orton, Batista.
Yeah.
And then, but they never really built anyone after that.
That's the
Not
problem.
even now.
No, that's the problem. Is like, particularly like with Roman, they put all of their eggs into that Roman-shaped basket and just pinned everything on him. And so everyone sort of almost has to fall victim to the Roman push. And when you just push one man, then you're not pushing anyone else, and so everyone else just gets flattened out.
Yeah.
The same with Cena. Cena was the most pushed guy in the company. The only other people that was really pushed outside of him was Orton. The glorious Robert Ray says, excuse me, so last week I asked about Raw reunion, but someone else asked the same question, so I delete that one from last week.
Oh.
So my new question is, if you were to travel with one wrestler for a year, who would it be? I think I would pick Drew after seeing a lot of interviews with him on Up, Up, Down, Down. He seems like a real laugh, and he loves talking about wrestling, and I think he's been wrestling long enough where you get some really good stories and insight on wrestling like I've never seen or heard before.
Well, I was going to say Keith Lee, because we already know he likes all the same stuff as us.
Yeah.
Because he's our best friend. So we can talk about Marvel and comics and stuff.
That's why I'd pick Xavier Woods.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Well, I was going to say the downside with Keith Lee is that he is enormous. Like he's 6'3", 330 pounds, and if I'm traveling with him in a rental car, I don't want that level of cramp. It's like traveling with Mark Henry. I wouldn't go for that. So Xavier's a much smaller in stature.
Yeah, I'd go for Xavier Woods. That'd be my pick.
Yeah.
Jonathan Edmonds said, what is your fondest memory from your first wrestling show in person? Mine was seeing Junkyard Dog and Ivan Putski yelling to Big John Studd, Studd, get back here, you chicken poop.
So my first wrestling show in person was it was in a theatre. So it was like, there's the stage, here's the tiered auditorium seating in front. I believe they call it Promethean Arch.
I'm a Scooby-Doo, mate.
Just a standard vaudeville theatre setup. So you were only on one side of the ring. And I just remember them bringing in this ladder. There was a TLC match. Or it wouldn't have been a TLC match because they didn't call it TLC back. It must have been a ladder match with tables. And, because that wasn't invented when I went. It was like 98, 99. Yeah, and it was just... I just remember being very worried that the table was going to slip off the stage.
I think I'm trying to think what my first live wrestling show was, and I think it was an FWA Academy show. And I think as one of the big attractions they put on there, were they booked Jody Fleisch versus Johnny Storm as hey, come down and check this out. I think AJ Styles was on the show as well. So I think that's what I remember from that. I'm pretty sure AJ was on it. But I remember they did do Fleisch versus Storm, which was a very popular match in sort of that early 2000s period in the UK.
Groundbreaking,
absolutely. Dwayne Cooley says, hello Swafters and WrestleTalk crew. I'm back with another question similar to Cody's question from last week. After I sent that question, it got me thinking. There are so many wrestling matches there aren't many wrestling matches I get excited for anymore. I should be excited for Ricochet versus Styles, but I've not seen any of their three encounters. I should have gone back to watch Strowman versus Lashley, considering it was in my hometown and best match of the night, so I heard. Come to think of it even more, there aren't many wrestlers or matches that don't really excite me like it does other people, though I'd still find NXT matches as the ones I look forward to. Is this an indication of wrestling drought, or should I take a break from watching wrestling altogether for a while, or is it something else?
I feel like this is quite a psychiatrist couch question. Everything you said there is main roster WWE, and then you said, oh, but I still like NXT.
Yeah.
And I would argue AEW have done a fantastic job of matchmaking, announcing matches that I want to see, because they don't have the luxury of storylines. It's just, here's a wrestler, Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela,
Darby Allin.
I'm like,
yes, please. I love that.
Yeah, I didn't even. I was always thinking Janela Havoc, but okay. Yeah, this is.
And actually, what I loved about that as well is that when the episode of Road to All Out, they just had one backstage segment that perfectly set that up, and I'm like, oh, cool. I now want to see this match even more because they've given me a reason to care.
Yeah, I think it's WWE that has exhausted you.
Fatigue,
there.
WWE fatigue.
See some indie shows.
Yes.
Yeah, because as great as NXT and AEW are, nothing can usually compare to a live indie show.
He also adds as well, what's the moment that you feel you need to distance yourself from wrestling? For me, it was Hogan winning the belt in 2002. That was when I was done.
Whenever I have to watch Attitude Era pay-per-views and there's a women's segment and my girlfriend walks in. It's changed. The business has changed. Only 3 years ago, but it changed.
Eventually, it changed. Yeah. Ashley Richardson says, "Hi guys, I know this is very much wishful thinking and unlikely, but if AEW on TNT and hopefully revitalize WWE on Fox, do you think it could cause a new wrestling boom? Do you think that Sinclair would notice and start funding Ring of Honor to be a serious contender? I always found it odd how small they are as a company, knowing who owns them."
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we're all hoping that AEW and SmackDown will create this new late 90s wrestling boom period. ROH, I don't think so. I think the opportunity's already been there for them. Sinclair have owned them for 4 or 5 years now, and the time to do it, the time to put money in, and they were even talking about doing it, was pre-AEW.
Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they let the Young Bucks go. They let Cody go. They let all those Bullet Club guys go. And then they had the big New Japan MSG show. That's the time to put money in. And they said, like, the COO of Sinclair said he was going to do that. But if they did, it didn't really transpire into anything.
No, I've got to agree with you
so
there.
So unfortunately not, I'd say.
I mentioned this on the NXT Ramble as well, but I'm going to say it here because it's our least watched Ramble. But the Seth Rollins quote of "they're taking food off our table" is so incredibly dumb when you consider that because of AEW, people are now making more money in WWE. So actually, they're getting more food on their table, you dolt. Noah Trombley says, "Do you think Vince has any influence on the Seth Rollins outburst, speaking of which, against AEW and Jon Moxley?" No, I think it's Seth has been hanging around with Vince too much. And I think he just speaks in Vince-isms.
I think there's a company directive
You reckon?
to go out and say stuff, and Seth knows the best way to pop Vince.
Is to say the things that he would have said.
Yeah.
I thought the thing is Triple H as well, because Triple H used to say the term, they were trying to take food off our table when talking about WCW. So it's this sort of words we've heard for years and years and years from Vince and Triple H. It almost just seems to be seeping into Seth. So maybe, you're right, he's just saying these words because he knows it's going to do him some favours backstage.
Yeah. Probably last one.
DJ Bruhard says, "I've been thinking about AJ turning heel and winning the US Championship from Ricochet, though I can't help but think this feud should have been over the Universal Championship instead, making the club look dominant right out of the gate and saving Brock's cash-in for a bigger surprise, preferably right after Seth finally overcomes the club to win back the title. How do you guys feel they could have done a better job of pushing the club and Seth Rollins?"
Yeah, I think that would have been infinitely more preferable to what's happened. You don't have Brock come back at all.
Yep.
You have Ali or someone of that nature winning Money in the Bank. AJ turns heel on Seth with the club to win the Universal Championship, and then don't do Seth AJ right away. Make AJ say, "Nah, you're not good enough," and then make him fight other people. Have him a little short-term feud with Ricochet. Get Ricochet over because he can hang at that level. Another feud with someone else. And then Seth gets the match finally. Yeah. And that's a big deal, and they've been kept apart for ages. Yeah. There's no automatic rematch clauses, remember?
Antiquated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think actually it would have made AJ would have been legit as well because he's already a former WWE champion, and it would have saved us from more Baron Corbin matches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, also, congratulations to Baron Corbin. He's the first wrestler in WWE this year to wrestle 100 matches. So Baron Corbin's had the most matches in WWE this year, 100.
It's a lot of running around the ring post and sliding back in the ring.
That's why he's got such good abs.
Thank you very much for watching today's episode. Of course, remember, please do go over using the link in the video description below to get your Audible trial thing with the first month free of the 3 months. It's really good. We genuinely do love Audible as a service, we want to work with them more. Maybe there's some other little series we can do with their backing if this all works out. But for the meantime, please click the videos that have appeared on the desk, catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things. Remember, click the link in the video description below to get your Audible offer. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.